Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Eric Johnston Live. I'm a criminal. Bump, 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 bump. Yeah, I'm a criminal. Dun, 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 dun. That's a Eminem song from, I don't know, 99, 2001, early 2000s. I'm not sure. Uh, Welcome to Eric Johnston Live. Tonight is all about crime. It's about breaking the law. It's about trying to get away with it. Maybe it's about not getting away with it. It's about getting arrested. It's about going to jail. It's all about crime. Now, today is Thursday, and Thursday has been the unofficial start of the weekend because in COVID, we don't know what fucking day it is anymore. But I feel like on Thursday nights with this show, I do Tuesday nights, I do Thursday nights. Tuesday is a little bit more introspective. Tuesday's a little bit more about me or my personality or my heart or my story, and not only me, but other comedians' stories and lives and stuff like that. Thursday's more of the fun party night. It's more of the let's talk some shit and see what happens night. It's the let's laugh. And nothing more in life is funnier or crazier than someone either going or almost going to jail. Again, when I talked about doing this show, I said, I don't want to talk to any murderers, and if you committed a crime or you did something stupid, I don't want to hear about it. But if it's like a funny crime, crazy story, maybe even you didn't even know you were breaking the law, I need to hear about it tonight. So I will stay at the top of this show. I have some amazing guests lined up, but if you have a story that you want to tell, maybe it's been cleared, maybe it's been expunged from your record, and you want to talk about it, you can. You can come on Eric Johnston Live with my special guest co-host, Vito Blaze, Vance Michel, coming to you from New York City by way of Montreal. I met this guy when I was out there. He's probably one of the funniest people I know. And he's just one of those guys that when you're telling a story, he hypes things up. And I'm going to bring him on very shortly. Now, I just shared, as I always do, the StreamYard browser-based live studio for professionals stream. The StreamYard is http://streamyard.com /XYBI, I don't know, it's a bunch of letters and numbers. Click on that and click on the first one. I just posted it now, and this is it. So if you can hear me, and you want to come on the show, scroll up. I want to hear your true crime stories. Now, I have some special guests, one from Calgary, one from Chicago, and our special guest co-host on the show is originally a New York cat, now living in Montreal, killing it there, being a comedian and doing his thing. Now, but before I bring him on, Vance, Vito Blaze, my co-host for the evening, I need to tell you guys a very quick story. Now, if you have me on Facebook and Instagram, which you do, but if you haven't seen, you've already heard this story. And if you haven't heard this story, you're in for a quickie good one. You're in for a quickie, guys. Now, my friend Derek Petrella just said, stand up, let's see that shirt. Now, I'm not going to stand up because this is a small office and I'm a big guy. But you can see if I cover my nips, you can see the t-shirt, the original cast and crew t-shirt for a movie called Blood and Guts. Now, something going on in Camp Eric Johnston recently is a friend of a family has this warehouse, this factory, and he became he owns the factory, and his previous client, his previous tenant, was a collector of antiques, but also sets, TV sets, movie sets, props, all that kind of stuff. The company has since left and gone to Toronto. However, they left a bunch of stuff. And the friend of the family said to my mom, hey, I know that your kids like vintage movie stuff and they like vintage stuff. Why don't they come to the warehouse? Anything that they see, anything they find, they can keep, because I'm just a nice guy. I'm just going to give you guys this shit. So today, my sister and I, Holly Johnston, Holly owns the haberdashery in Hamilton, which has since gone to, because of COVID-19, has gone to 100% online sales. So please check her out on Instagram at the haberdashery Insta. Also check out her Etsy and her Poshmark and her all that kind of stuff. You can find all that stuff. She's an amazing dealer in vintage clothing and vintage goods. Now, because this guy knows that my sister does that and knows that I'm into cool shit, he said, come take a look at this stuff. Today we went to this warehouse, which is I don't even know, 10,000 square feet, massive warehouse full of stuff that I'm going to be selling and giving away and selling. And we'll see what we're going to do with all this stuff. If you want something cool, I'll be talking about it with you over the next couple weeks on Instagram and Facebook. And Holly and I are shooting the shit, as we would say in our family. Shooting the shit, talking about this factory and this warehouse, and oh my god, look at all this cool stuff. And like I'm doing now, I was leaning on a pile of posters and a pile of frames, just because I like to lean, because I don't work out my legs, so when my legs get tired very easily, so I'm a leaner. I'm a big lean guy. Now, what happened was I was leaning on this pile of posters and I looked down. I thought, this for some reason, and also I should say that the poster was flipped around and facing the other direction. It was just the back of a framed poster that I was leaning on. And I thought to myself, oh, this is cool. I'm going to check this out. Yeah, whatever. I looked down and on the ground, the thing that I'm leaning on. Now, again, I'm a big man. This is a small office. I'm going to try to show you to the best of my abilities. If not, the picture and video is available on my Instagram page. The poster that I found, framed poster, is a poster from the 1978 movie Blood and Guts. I'll show you guys there. I don't know if you can hear me. It's a framed, you can see yourselves. Look at you guys. You can see this original 1978 poster. What's cool about this poster is the movie Blood and Guts was filmed in Hamilton. Not only was this movie filmed in Hamilton, this movie was filmed at the gym owned by my father and my grandfather, called Bull's Gym on John Street in Hamilton, Ontario. What's even cooler is, see that guy right there in the mask in the locked up position? That man is my father. My father starred as the main villain in this movie, produced in 1978, 42 years ago. So I assume, because this warehouse has been sitting collecting dust, I assume that this poster has been sitting in that warehouse since 1978. 42 years ago. Now, to the people who own the building, it's another cool poster they have. But to me, that's my family history. That's a movie that my dad made. My grandfather was in it. My Uncle Randy was in the movie. My dad's friend Danny Dunsmuir was in the movie. A bunch of friends and family members were in a movie of a poster that I just happen to be leaning on. Now, I don't know what you guys can say about fate and about destiny and believing in manifestation, but sometimes, like I said on Instagram today, the things that you deserve in life, the things that you're destined to in life will just come to you. And I very honestly, truthfully believe that. 42 years that poster sat in a warehouse. Today, I just happened to lean against it. And what's crazier about the story is, on Monday, the production company who owns all this stuff, who's giving up a lot of this stuff, is hiring a moving company to come remove everything and throw it out. I just happened to be there today, lean on this poster, and I stole it. I took it. I mean, they said I could have it, but I didn't ask anyone. I said, this is mine. This is my dad on this poster. I'm keeping it. Which leads us to the theme of today's episode. crime. Although I was allowed to take that, it's not technically a crime, but I took something that meant a lot to me. So now it belongs to me. Tonight is about crime. It's about breaking the law. It's about. I'm just thinking about that story still, and it blows me the fuck away. I cannot believe that I found that Blood and Guts poster in a pile of dust today in a factory off Millen Road in Stony Creek, Ontario. But that's life, man. And this shirt, to prove to you that I'm an OG Blood and Guts guy, this shirt has been in my closet for 42 years. It was in my dad's closet for about 30 and been in mine for a while. Okay, we're going to start the show. The show is about crime, and I'm going to bring on our very special co-host, and then I'm going to bring on our very first special guest of the show, coming to you from Chicago, Illinois, the Puerto Rican dream. Abi Sanchez is going to be on the show very soon. But first, I'm going to bring on our co-host of the evening. I can only see his forehead right now, so he better fix that. His name is Vito Blaze, Vance Michel, my very good friend. Please welcome to the show, Vance, everybody. Hey, dude.
Hey, what's going on? Can you see me
fucking with
now?
me? I can tell. I can see you.
That's what
I
I'm
can
talking
totally
about.
see you.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. How you
Dude.
doing, EJ? How you doing? All right, how's it going up in
I'm
Hamiltown?
good, man.
Hamiltown, tell my peoples in
It's
Stony Creeks. I said,
great.
what's up?
That's up. That
Tell
everyone
my
from
people.
Stony Creek, Vance Vito Blaze says, "What's up?"
Yeah, you don't believe me?
Now,
I got some peoples
now,
out there.
I know you do. You're one of those international types. You know people everywhere, and everyone
International
knows you.
player.
I'm gonna do this now for the people who are watching the show. I made you a little banner here. Vance Michel, aka Vito Blaze, aka V Bleezy, is
Ooh,
if
I
you
like
want.
that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, I'm a professional. I'm a goddamn
Okay,
professional. Uh,
that looks nice.
and actually, I want to address this also off the top of the show. Leanne,
Hmm.
Leanne Milan, who was our very special guest last week on the show, on last Thursday on the drug episode, she wrote racial profiling. Now, when I messaged you earlier today, she's joking, she's a comedian, but when I messaged you earlier today,
Okay,
did I not say, bro, I want you on the crime show in the least racist
right.
way possible?
And exactly.
Just
We're in a safe
because
zone. We're gonna
we're
stay
in
in a safe
okay,
zone.
good. I appreciate that, and I know the
I'll
reason.
try. I'll try. I might
I
say
know
some
she
racist shit though.
Leanne's
I
just
might
jokes.
say some
No,
shit.
no, I know. See, but the thing is, I know that you have a story. I don't know how much of the story you could tell, but I know there's a reason why you're in Canada, and one of those reasons is
Yeah,
crime based. So I was like, he's
yeah,
perfect for the show. You can share as much of that
yeah,
as
yeah,
you
yeah.
want. Now,
Exactly.
um,
I mean, if you, yeah, I'll share a little bit.
okay,
You want me to share now?
yeah, let's start the show. Let's why are you in Canada?
Well, while I'm in Canada, it's because I did get deported. The boy had a life of crime. You know what I'm saying? And I tell you, I was doing a lot of crime, but I sucked at it. I really sucked at it. That's one thing I know for damn sure. I sucked at crime. That's why I quit. That's why there's some people that's good at it. Me, not good at it. Like I got caught. I got caught stealing. I got caught making fake checks. You ever thought like
Oh,
I was caught cashing fake checks.
yeah, that's not bad.
You ever seen that movie Catch Me If You Can?
With Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah,
You should have been
exactly.
cast Vito Blaze starring Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, catch me if you can. You know what I'm saying? I was doing the same thing, but they caught my ass. They caught my ass. They caught me. I wish I seen that movie before I went to jail though. Like because after I finished cashing the checks and thinking that they wouldn't cash me, because I started cashing the checks because my girl at the time, she was getting away with doing it. So I
Ah,
thought, yeah. So I was selling weed at the time, and I
okay.
was thinking about bigger plans. I was thinking like on some Tony Soprano shit. I was thinking like, yo, I got to get my new crew, new trap, start a new empire. Well, I'll start doing this cash and check gig on the side,
Yeah,
right? To
yeah.
get more money because like I was getting the drug money, but if I wanted to like speed it up and get to the next level real quick, I saw some fast cash. So I did that. I got into the scheme and I cashed these fake checks. I walked into the banks, and my face is on camera and everything. I signed it with my name. I'm thinking I can't get caught.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, Secret Service wants me. I'm wanted. I'm wanted by Secret
Whoa, you're a
Service.
wanted
Yeah,
man.
I'm a wanted man. I was
Also,
on the run for
Vance,
a
I'm just
while.
gonna stop you for a sec. I know this
Yeah.
seems comfortable, but you don't need to hold the microphone right to your face.
Oh,
Just
okay.
let it dangle au naturel. Because
All right.
it sounds like you're like literally, it's more of a Secret Service thing where you're like, no, I was scratching these checks. It's coming right into my earlobes, and I'm sure into the earlobes of anyone watching. Just let it hang natural. You're in a safe zone, okay? I'm not the cops.
I'm gonna say so.
Yeah.
All right.
So okay, so you're in the bank, you're signing shit, you are getting away with it. Secret Service wants you. They're looking for you. Then what
Yeah.
happened?
Like while they're looking for me, I decided like to break up with my girlfriend, and
Oh.
went back to weed dealing with my weed dealing buddies at the time. And I was selling weed, back to selling weed for a while. Then they busted in the weed spot, and they wanted the weed, but then they found out I was wanted for cashing a fake checks by Secret Service.
Oh. What
So
when they were
that's
like
what got me deported.
yeah, when they
That's
were
what got me.
like when they
Yeah.
were like when they were like, "Hey, do you have any priors or any other warrants?" You're like, "I don't think so." And then you
Yeah,
definitely did.
exactly. Yeah,
The Secret Service is like, "Actually, I have
shit,
something to say."
that shit got different. Let me tell you, that shit got different because when but you ever watch Cops?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so when they did one of those raids, I'm thinking somebody's knocking on my door being an impolite customer, you know?
Like demanding weed, but it was the cops
Yeah,
demanding answers. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
exactly. It was six of them all dressed in black in the hallway, and I'm
Uh,
scared to death. I'm run outside, and then I see a whole bunch of them like with rifles, and they all tell me to get down, and I'm like, I'm down on my knees, and I'm like, oh shit. And then they was like, oh, they come in the house, they're like, so what you got in here? Just weed? I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, you got any cocaine? I'm like, nah. He was like, any guns? He was like, nah. He was like, any priors? And I'm like, any warrants and shit? I'm like, nah, I don't think so, man. And then it's like, all right, man, you look like, yeah, you should be out in a week then, man. Don't worry
yeah.
about this. Next thing you know, they get a call like, is that Vance Michel? And then it's like, yeah. Yeah, he's wanted by the Secret Service. Next thing you know, they started roughing me the fuck up. It's like, you wanted by the Secret Service? Then get your ass to the car. They just start
hmm
beating me up and shit.
Then
I
they
was
start
like, what
giving you
the
those kidney shots.
yeah, they got different once they found out I was wanted by Secret Service. It was crazy. They found like 1 pound of weed, no guns, everything was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Once they found I was wanted by Secret Service, and then they took me to a room, and I ain't even talk to a cop, just some plain clothes guy.
Oh,
I was like,
that's I don't know much about jail, but I know when they bring in the casual looking guy, he's actually higher up. He's the guy that can
yeah,
break you down and be like, "I need you to admit to all of this shit." Because cops are just like, "You're gonna tell us the truth," and you're like, "Fuck you," and they're like, "I don't know what to do with this guy. We're gonna beat him with whatever phone books." But if they bring in a very
yeah.
casual looking guy, to me, that's scarier than a guy in a police uniform. Like a guy with a
Yo, he was
golf polo on, he's like, I had to come off my 18th hole for this shit. You're gonna give me some answers.
word, exactly. Because like I had misdemeanors all the time and shit. Like I had misdemeanors. I dealt with court. Like I was in and out by up to that time. I never seen a plain clothes guy up in.
Yeah,
It was just like you up in the movies and shit. And I know plain clothes is real serious shit. So once I seen plain clothes, I was like, whoa, I'm in some deep shit now. Like this ain't no regular in and out shit like how I usually be. Like this is I'm gonna be in here for a minute now. Like I see it. And then he gave me the old listen, man, you tell us what happened, make this all go away. That little weed charge,
oh
nothing.
yeah,
All
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it gave me all of that. Like
Trying
make
to
this
be
all
your
go away.
buddy, he offers you a cigarette and a coffee, and he's like, "Why
The
don't you tell
old
us what
the
happened?"
The old Henry Hill, EJ. The old
Oh
Henry Hill,
shit.
yo.
Bye-bye,
Word.
fucko. It's yeah, so oh
Yo.
man,
But
he's
I
like,
but I did the first Henry Hill. I didn't do the second Henry Hill. I did the first Henry Hill.
you didn't pull a Takashi on that shit. That's why you're in Montreal now.
Nah.
So
I did the
I'm
first
I'm just confused. So were you born in New York or you were born in Montreal?
I was born here, but I was raised in New York.
See, that's because I got deported, I was like, to your home I'm like, I thought you were New York and then went to Montreal, but I guess deported wouldn't make sense. So you were born in Montreal, raised in New York. This story makes a lot more sense because you're talking to me right now, and if you were born in America, we'd be having this conversation through bars. So they would have thrown the fucking book at you. Christina, my cousin Christine brings up a very smart, great question. Did your girl get caught too, or did she snitch you out, or anything like that?
Yeah, the thing with my girl is, I think the thing with my girl is that they didn't press her because maybe, I think she probably did give names because they were asking me about my girl and shit, but like, I didn't even know what my girl did because my girl never got caught at that time. Well, my ex girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, nothing like a federal charge in the Secret Service to break up a nice relationship.
Yeah.
Damn, that Secret Service.
Seriously, Secret Service came and got me, man. But it was it's a funny way. You know what's crazy about it? I thought I could never get caught doing this shit, and then when I'm in jail, that's when I saw Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah,
and then that's when I'm like, wow. I would have never done that. I would have been broke up with my girl if I seen that movie. Like, yo, what are you doing? Get the fuck with me. Like,
you know all the rules. You're like, that's 5 to 10.
Yeah.
That was gonna be my next question. I was just gonna say my next question. I want to know what it was like for you. Now, I've been in the back of a cop car, and I'll tell that later in the show. Now, I'm a domesticated white, so I've never been to jail. But I know the one time I was in the back of a police car. As soon as I was talking shit, I got my cuffs on. I'm like, you guys are you fucking real cops. And as soon as that door closed, as soon as it went honk, it changed my attitude completely. I was literally, I'm in cuffs, and I started knocking on the door, like gently, being like, "Excuse me, hi." I feel like
change once the door closed.
I feel like we need to have a conversation, and I can tell the story quickly now. I've always been known for thinking on my feet. Now, the reason I got arrested in the first place is because I was talking some shit to some cops who broke up a hotel party in St. Catharines, Ontario, and on New Year's Eve, I think 2013 or 14. I was 23 or 24 at the time. And I was talking shit. They came and broke up the party. I'm like, you cops need to be getting out some real criminals. We're just drunk. We're trying to go to sleep. We stopped partying an hour ago. What the fuck are you doing here? I was just that guy. I think I had whiskey instead of gin. If I was gin guy, I'd be like, I'm sorry you're here, officers, and we'll try to keep it down. And if you want to kick us out, I totally understand. Because I had a couple shots of Canadian Club or something that night, I was like, you guys are pigs and whatever. So the cops were like, hold on, we're going to take this guy outside and talk to him. They took me outside, beat the shit out of me, threw me against the cop car, punched me in the kidneys, threw me into the back. And I was sitting in the back of the cop car, which I didn't realize was all plastic. It's not leather seats or anything back there. It's just a plastic bench.
It's a plastic thing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable. They're not trying to, it's not.
No, it's not. It's not the Ritz. It's not the Ritz. No. So he throws me in. I fucking smoke my head on the door. I sit up, and I realize, holy shit. First of all, I'm in the back of a cop car. And the next step is jail. And I can't have this on my record. My mom, who's watching right now, I don't even know if she's ever heard this story, would kill me. She would kill me. So, I'm in the cuffs like this. I start knocking my head on the window. And I was like, thank God he opened the door. And he's like, what? And I was like, officer, I need to tell you something. And he's like, what? I'm like, the reason why I'm so sensitive is because it's always been my dream to be a police officer. Which is a complete lie. It just came to me all of a sudden. So I'm like, it's always been my dream to be a police officer. And actually,
Right.
I'm in police foundations at Humber College right now in Etobicoke. And if I get
The acting
arrested,
skills on them.
oh, I was like, it was the most Academy Award winning performance I've ever given. And I was like, I know that if I get arrested right now, I'll be kicked out of my school and my dream of being a police officer will be over. And he looked at me and he's like, "Is that true?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's true." And then he said to my friends who were watching over on the side, my friends watched them beat the shit out of me.
Yeah,
And they're like,
yeah,
"Is that true?" And they didn't even hear what I said.
yeah.
So all my friends were just like, "Yeah, it's true." They didn't even know what I said.
Yeah.
So he's like, "All right." So he had an attack of conscience and he let me out of the clubs. But my question to you is why I'm telling that story so quickly is once you got arrested, you were in the cop car, once you were in like the jail and they closed the
Yeah.
door, how
Ooh.
deafening and settling and just sobering was that experience for you to just be holy shit, I'm in jail now?
Mm.
What was that like?
Yo,
Tell the people.
I'm about to have a Barbara Walters moment right now. I don't know, man. I'm about to start tearing
This is
up
what this story's about. We
because,
laugh, we cry.
oh
Don't worry,
man,
our first guest coming on is going to talk about drunk driving. It's a completely different energy. Don't
when
worry.
the bars, when the bars close, when the bars close. Hey, you know what though? You just gave me an idea. Next time I get arrested, I'm gonna tell them it's always been my dream to be a cop.
Yeah, they'll be like, yeah, right. See, look at me. I got these shaved side of the head. I got a jacked up her body. I look like my lie could work. You'd be like, yo, for real?
I'm
It's
like,
always
what?
been my dream to be a police
Yeah, you
officer.
racial profiling right now. Come on, man. You don't think I can't be a guy?
I gotta scroll up to Leanne's comment.
Yeah, but if the bar when the bars closed on me, matter of fact, I was high as fuck though. I was drinking 151 and I was smoking a lot of weed. So the shit didn't hit me till like the next morning
Oh yeah, when they like
that I
walked
was
up.
in there. Yeah.
That's a bad hangover, I'd say. You wake up, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm in jail and I'm being federally indicted.
Yeah, word. I thought it was all a dream at first. Because I
Yeah.
thought, I thought it was all a dream at first. And then I woke up, I was like, oh shit, this shit real. And then and then I'm in orange. I'm in the orange chair. And then they tell me it's breakfast. When that tray was in front of me and I was eating food. Like I was eating regular food. I was eating a chicken patty. It wasn't real
Ooh.
fried chicken. The night before I was eating Red Lobster.
Yeah.
And now I'm eating this shit. Like it was like, yo, B. I'm looking at the TV and I'm like, yo. And then it really killed me because at that night I was like, hold up. I'm not gonna see any girls. Like,
You're like, for
this
a long
shit.
time.
Yeah, like this shit whack. Like this shit. Because
uh,
cause there was always a possibility of like me going out. But this time around, they were saying my next court date is this and my bail is this and you're gonna have like my bail was way high. I was like, whoa, I ain't never had a bail that high. And
yeah.
usually they let me go on my own recognizance after a couple of days, but after a couple of weeks, it was like next court date, and I'm like, whoa, I'm really up in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really in here.
I
Yeah, it took
guess,
a while to hit me.
see, the idea is kind of the idea that it kind of gives me anxiety of like it's almost like how we all feel right now. Where it's like we're all like,
Yeah.
when are we gonna get out of this thing? And then they're like, oh, court date got pushed 2 more weeks. Social distancing got pushed 2 more weeks. It's like every time you think you're getting close, you get even deeper into it, and that shit is fucking
Mm-hmm.
crazy. But and you're gonna be on the whole show, but to kind of round out your story
Yeah.
before we bring on our first guest, and we're just gonna talk shit about crime for the rest of the show. But
All right.
I will say that a true comedian, a comedian who does the best, and we've had this conversation before, you and I in Montreal after a couple drinks, and you're a little high and whatever, but a true comedian has a story. A true comedian has a perspective. A true comedian can take shit that's happened to them in life and tell stories about it, which I think is why you're already becoming. How long you been doing stand up for? Not too long. A couple of years, 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years.
But you've already got kind of the point of view of a comedian who's been doing it longer than that because you have a story. You have a background. Right. You have something to say. And they deported your ass back to Montreal, which is one of the comedy capitals of Canada. And you're doing so well, dude. So I'm
exactly.
You know when you meet someone and you're like, I'm going to be buds with this guy. That's how I felt about you. And I knew you'd be perfect for the show. Not in a racial profiling way, as someone commented.
Not in a racial profiling way. We're safe.
As a man who has a story. But speaking of racial profiling, I have a Puerto Rican coming on. In Canada, we don't have Puerto Ricans, so I'm gonna have to explain where Puerto Rico is to the Canadian people coming on the show. So
they don't got no Puerto Ricans out here.
No, we don't got Puerto Ricans in Canada, man.
We need some. We need some. They got a good vibe.
Yeah, it's all dance. It's all dancing and fun and weed. So before I bring on our first official guest of the show, as Vance puffs up that J, which is perfect for this episode, not illegal anymore. You can't go to jail. It's so funny. That's also crazy to me. Before I bring on our first guest, is you went to jail not only for the check cashing thing, but they arrested you because of weed. And now in Canada, you're like, look at what I can do, whatever I want.
Right? Seriously, yo.
Yeah, that's gotta be crazy.
A joke.
Okay,
crazy.
So our first guest, and before I bring on our first official guest of the show, I want to remind everyone, if you can see me right now, please share this stream. We've had a great viewership so far on the show. We've had about 25 to 30 steady viewers, which is going to translate to about 500 people who watch throughout the show. So that's great. Any person who shares it, it means the world to me. I appreciate you. I love you. Abby has shared it. Chuck has shared it. A bunch of other people have shared it. I can't see all the names right now, but I appreciate you. Dave Diedrich has shared it. Abi Sanchez is a comic that I met in Chicago. He's one of my favorite comics in the city of Chicago. And last time I was there, him and I truly bonded because we just shot the shit for the first time over a couple nights. Before it was like, hey, there's Abby, hey, there's Eric, whatever, just two ships passing in the night. But the last time I was in Chicago before COVID hit, I actually had a great conversation, two great conversations with Abby, and he told me the funniest DUI arrested story I've ever heard in my life. So and I don't want to hype it up too much. I hate when comics say like, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard, but it's actually hilarious and you guys are going to love it. And stop rustling fucking snacks and eating weed and snacks over there. You're like, I'm just going to do the loudest things as I'm giving the comic an intro. I'm a big fan of his and he's one of my favorite comics in the city of Chicago. Please welcome Abi Sanchez, everybody. Dude,
hey, what up?
What's up, brother?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm glad. Did you shave your head again?
Yeah, I had a reboot.
Good. I kept seeing those hair updates, and I was getting concerned.
It was getting a little too crusty to clownish, and I had to just shave it.
Yeah, it's a rough one. But you look good now.
This has been the most racist show I've been on.
I was like, okay. Well, I'm doing a show about crime.
How many minorities do I know?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm doing a show about crime. I'm a white kid from the suburbs, but I do know a black guy and a Puerto Rican. But you guys are just criminals, so you're perfect for the show. No, I'm kidding.
It is what it is.
Facts are facts. You're the only criminals I know. And plus, white crime is just boring. It's like, oh, I stole my mom's credit card once.
Oh man.
Abby, I want to ask questions, but I've heard this story before. But there's still some stuff to be asked about. So I know that you have kind of one of the most hilarious DUI stories.
Yeah.
Start from the start and go through it, and I can ask questions wherever I can. And if Vito has any questions.
It started out a night out with friends. We were celebrating getting our income tax refund. I don't know if that's a big deal for you guys.
It is, especially now we're collecting government benefits called CERB, C-E-R-B, the Canadian Emergency Relief Benefit for COVID-19. Similar. They're just giving us $2,000 a month to survive. Yeah.
Basically, what the tax refund is just that you overpaid and they're giving you your money back. That's all it is. But every time you get it back, it's like, oh shit, I got extra 1,500. So we went out drinking, celebrating, having a good time. I made the mistake of driving. So at this time, Uber didn't exist. This happened in 2006.
Yeah.
So Uber wasn't around. There's taxis, but who takes a taxi?
No, you're not an idiot.
Well, we're just having a good time at the bar, and then we were there for about a good 6 hours. I was my drink of choice was Bacardi Limon on the rocks, which is not a smart choice.
No,
but it's definitely like a 28-year-old person's choice to drink.
Well, also I'm just gonna mention Vance got arrested drinking Bacardi 151, so I think Bacardi is the problem.
Yeah, Bacardi 151 is dangerous.
Yeah, man. I remember our friend Anth growing up. Anth Podjaberic used to steal 151 from his parents. We used to literally light it on fire before we do shots. And as like a 16-year-old, you literally need 2 shots, and you're walking around the park being like, "This is the most fun I've ever had."
Being drunk is the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Getting drunk is fun. Being drunk is not.
Yeah, exactly. Taking it too far.
Yeah. So after we leave the bar, I decide I'm only 5 minutes away from the house. I could drive. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Chicago's a great city to drive drunk in, if you don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about this last time I was there. It is a great city to drive drunk.
The entire city is a grid, so all streets are straight for the most part, and then there's like stoplights and stop signs to keep you honest, like
slow you down and bring you up.
Okay.
And again, I'm only 5 minutes from the house, so I drive.
Everywhere is like cruise control.
And you can't go over 30. You don't get a chance to really go over 30.
And it's funny because Chicago is such a great, and you were telling me last time you told me the story that even if you do get pulled over for driving drunk in Chicago, the cops have so much other shit to do that they're just like, just fucking go. So yeah, go ahead.
So I decided I wanted to get food because you get drunk, you get hungry.
Yeah.
So I go stop and get food. I'm pretty sure I paid like $30 for a cheeseburger at like a little greasy food spot. I just gave them money, like, here, take my cash, give me food.
Yeah.
And then I drive home. I'm 2 blocks away from my house. And the way my block ended was on a T intersection. So I would come up the block, make a U-turn, and park in front of my house. Well, when I got I must have fell asleep from one stop sign to the other.
Must have.
I never made it to the U-turn. I just kept going straight. And then I bumped the curb and I landed in like the front yard of some old lady's house, like my neighbor, like a little bit up the street.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know what was going on because like the airbag popped out and I'm thinking like, fuck, there goes my tax refund. I got to replace this airbag, all this other shit. The seatbelt won't let me out of the car because it's locked up. Have you ever gotten hit with an airbag?
No, I haven't. Vance, you? Okay.
No.
The answer's still no. He just got stoned and got frozen.
He's bad. You get popped with an airbag. It's like getting punched in the face. So I'm like kind of dazed. I'm a little already drunk. I get out of the car and there's some guy standing there. And he's like, hey, I got to call the cops. I'm like, nah, you don't got to do that. I can move the car. I didn't know anything was wrong with the car.
Yeah.
And then I try to get in. I try to start it. I try to throw it in reverse and back it out. And the engine was just revving. I'm like, man, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, a tow truck shows up, like just randomly. They must have had a police scanner and they heard about an accident. They just came. They got there before the cops did, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think tow truckers are just they know if you have a problem, call a tow truck before a cops.
Those are the equivalent to sharks in like around blood. Like it's like chum.
Yeah.
So I get to the cops finally show up. They take all my paperwork. They throw me in the back seat of the car, and I'm back there chit-chatting with them. They're running my paperwork, and he asked me where I live. Now, granted, my accident was 300 feet from my house. Like I could have walked easily, but I was so dazed, and I was facing a direction I didn't know. So I was like, all right, we'll go this way, go that way. I took them on like a 1 mile loop through my neighborhood. So when they came back to my house, to park in front of my house, you could see my car being towed from I could see my car being towed.
That's the best too, because when you told me the story, I'm like, you didn't give an address? You're like, no, I just gave directions.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm at this point. How would I get home from here?
You're like, just go left, right, left.
It was, I mapped it out on Google Maps and it was a good mile long drive.
You did like, go 17 blocks, but only make right turns.
That's basically what happened.
Yeah.
So the minute the cops see that, the minute he sees that, he just starts losing his shit.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't know where I was. And I stick my fingers through a little gate on that thing and I start patting him on the shoulder.
It's all good.
Yeah. I'm like, it's cool, man, don't worry about it. And then for whatever reason, they decided not to write me up a ticket or anything. So they just let me go. But I go back in the car and I stick my head back in. I'm like, hey, I left the cheeseburger in the front seat of that car.
I paid $30 for that cheeseburger.
His partner just died laughing. His partner's pressed up against the window, just couldn't control himself. The driver is just yelling at me. He's like, get the fuck out of my car. I don't want to see. I'm like, all right. I get out. I go home. I go downstairs. I go to sleep. The next morning I wake up like fucking Undertaker at WrestleMania. Like I just sat up.
Sit up.
Yeah. I'm like, something bad happened. And I look around. I was like, I saw the accident report. I had my license. I had insurance. I had everything. I was like, I just had an accident report. And I was like, damn, this is crazy. So I go outside and I look outside my window and I can see them boarding up this lady's house.
Oh, shit. No.
But didn't you say it was just the curb or something? You're telling me,
I thought I just hit the curb. It turned like what I did was I hit some bricks that were in front and it kicked up and hit like the window. So I had to replace
shit.
Yeah.
That's not even like worse because they so I didn't know what my car was because remember the tow truck driver just came and took it. He just handed me the card and left and there was no address or nothing. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so I finally get a number and I call these people and I find out where they're at and I go look up for my car. And then when I see it, it's like the whole driver's side tire is peeled out backwards. Like you see the inside of it. The whole front bumper is inside my car. Everything's just gone. And I go look and sure enough, the cheeseburger and fries are still there. I'm like, man, this is crazy. And then I call my insurance and they're like, hey, what happened? I'm like, I hit a patch of ice. And I kept sliding through and I just crashed in this lady's house. And the insurance guy's like, did you get a ticket? I was like, no. Are you sure you didn't get a ticket? I was like, he's like, all right, we'll be out there. And they took a look at it. I dug into it. Like I clipped the tree and I missed it. Like I field gold at a light post in a tree, but I clipped the tree.
Oh, shit.
And then I dug into this lady's yard. So they had to replace the yard and then replace like the window frame. My insurance covered it. And then they also they called me up like, hey, we had to total out the car. Like it's just complete wreck. We're not going to fix it. He's like, the car's worth $18,000. You owe $14,000. So minus your deductible, we'll send you a check for $3,500. I was like, oh shit.
You're like, so I'm up.
Because it was a lease. It was the end of the lease, so they just paid it outright like I bought it. My credit score went up because
you looked like you paid off a whole car.
They shot up like 200 points. I was like, oh shit, like I'm a responsible adult now.
But the question still remains, did you eat the cheeseburger?
Nah, man, I left.
That's what I was about to ask him, son.
Nah.
See, that's Vance's stoner question. Did you still eat the cheeseburger?
I was about to ask him if you ate that cheeseburger still. So that shit went through a lot, son.
I looked, I thought about it, but I was like, it was just there too long, and it was. How would I look stealing food out of a car?
I would have ate it just to say, yo, we've been through a lot. It's only right. It's only right.
The cheese coagulated.
I was nervous for the first couple of weeks because they were sending me letters like, hey, this lady might sue you. We have lawyers. They'll take care of this. But just in case if she sues you for more than what we can cover, you got to pay it. I'm like, fuck, I didn't know what was going to happen. And then it turned out nothing. That's why the Chicago cops, like, they got other shit to do. I didn't hurt nobody.
Yeah.
Everything will cover it.
It's funny because you and I and Sean Flannery were having this conversation about drinking and driving. And again, I in Canada, drinking and driving is I don't think it should be done at all. I think there's a lot of people.
It should not be done.
And I will say that I think, but we all know as comedians, sometimes you drive to a gig and then you get like, hey, we're gonna pay you less, but we're gonna give you 4 times the amount of drink tickets or whatever. Right. You're not gonna be like, it's okay. So you get a buzz. You're not drunk, and I think the difference between with drinking and driving is, are you drunk and should you not drive, or would you blow over legally? Those are two different conversations.
I feel like I'm focused.
Because you're trying not to die.
I'm focused up until like a good song comes on, and then
Feel like
Yeah,
I'm
and you're just
focused,
like, you're like,
man.
born to be wild. Just go right into the fucking house. Dude, Abby, you're hilarious, and I love that story. Now, I know before you go, I know, I don't know if you want this on the streets, but I know you also sell weed.
well, let me get this on Facebook right now.
Or you know people who sell weed.
I know.
Know some people.
With weed guys.
Mm.
Put it that way.
Wow.
He's well connected, so if
There's
anyone
a
in
few
the Chicago, if
there's
you're in the Chicago area, just don't have a pound on you and don't have fraud checks on you at the time you get arrested. You won't end up in jail like
shit.
fucking Vance.
I wasn't
dude,
good at it. I told you I wasn't good at it. I
Yeah.
wasn't good at it. Left it alone.
Oh, dude, that's a great story, and I love having you on, dude. That's one of my favorite stories in the world. And I'm like, I was doing the crime episode tonight, and I'm like, he's got to come on and tell the DUI story. But
Thanks for
I mean,
having
I guess it wasn't you didn't really get a DUI.
I was definitely driving under the influence.
Before you go, if anyone wants to
Yeah, that
follow
was the
Abby
good story.
on Instagram, it's Abi Sanchez Comedy, one of my favorite comics in the city
Abi
of Chicago.
Sanchez comedy.
Yeah.
I'm about to follow him. I'm about to follow him right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Right
And
after
all
this.
you people watching on the show right now, 25 people watching live, and a couple hundred people have been in and out. Make sure you follow Abby. He's one of my
And
favorite.
if you don't mind, I plug my podcast, Legal Aliens Podcast. It's on everything.
Oh, dude, and I've heard that's great too. So make sure you follow him and the podcast. Dude, I love seeing you, man, and I can't wait to see you again when
Yeah,
this
man,
is
can't
all
wait to
over.
come back.
All right,
Actually,
man.
I'm from Canada because I didn't get that DUI, so I'm free.
Oh yeah, actually, you're clean. You come on over. It's good thing you didn't get that
Come on
ticket.
over.
But yeah, dude, I
You
love
thought
you.
Chicago was fun to drink and drive in.
Mary says Abby is awesome, dude. Make sure,
Thank you, man.
everyone follow Abby. He's one of my favorite comics in Chicago. I'll see you next time I'm through, dude.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, see ya.
Later.
All right.
Oh, Abby's great.
Ciao, Abby.
Oh, what a good dude. So I'm gonna jump right into
Yeah, man, that was a funny
our
story,
next
man.
another. Yeah, so yeah, Christine says hilarious. Yeah, but so yeah, he told me that story. We were in a bar in Chicago, and he was like, dude, he's like, yeah, have you ever heard my DUI story? And I was like, no. And the funniest part when he hits that story is, he's like, I was cruising down the street doing like 30, and I guess I passed out. I was like, what do you mean you guessed you passed out? You hit a fucking house.
Yeah,
you wouldn't hit a house if you were awake. He's just very casual. I guess I passed out. But yeah, we don't support drinking and driving unless it leads to a hilarious story like that. Otherwise, don't do it. Our next guest is another. Oh, actually, before I bring on another guest, I will say again, as I always do, if you are seeing this stream right now, if you're watching Eric Johnston live, I'm a criminal. Please share this story. Also, I just posted again the StreamYard comment on the comments. StreamYard, if you want to join this show before the end of the show after our next guest and you have a hilarious crime story, this is the StreamYard link, http://streamyard.com/streamyard.com/VXBJ23W4FZ. So if you want to come on the show, if you've got a hilarious crime story, it's actually unfortunate. It's fortunate. It's unfortunate. I had some people message me today being like, dude, I have the best story, but I literally can't talk about it. And I was like, come on. Like, it's still a legal pending case. I can't talk about it. Our next guest.
Statutes of limitations, baby.
That's right. So our next guest is one of my very best friends in the world from Calgary, Alberta. He is the morning show host of the very popular CJ92. I think I got it right this time. He's originally from Ontario, now living out in Calgary, and he's one of the most popular radio hosts out there, and he's a hilarious guy. His name is Jesse Modz, and here he is. Jesse Modz, everybody. Dude. Hey, man.
I don't know if I want to be on this podcast. You got drug dealers, drinking and driving, racism.
It's the crime show, man.
I have a real job. I don't know if I can be on here right now.
Hey, I have a real job too. I'm selling movie set stuff.
What are you selling for movie sets?
What are you, a cook? You look like a cook. Are you a
No,
cook?
I'm not a cook. I just eat a lot.
No, he's got those bottom sleeves that where you think that he might be a cook.
Bottom.
Yeah,
Why
I know
do I look like a cook?
No, because I'm a cook myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cook myself, and you look like you could be one of my bosses for real.
Oh,
Like, you
jeez.
look like you could be my head chef.
Iron Chef
With that
Canada over
tattoo
here.
in your...
I know how to grill a good chicken finger on broil for $5.25, and that's about it.
$5.25 for 15 to 20.
Don't bother flipping, man. No one's got time for that.
So the reason why I had you
on, what do you do with those arms?
Hurt people,
what do you mean?
Man.
What are we gonna have an arm off on this show? Let me get my Bugs Bunny squeeze on. Jesse and I actually send pictures of each other's arms to each other.
So we about to.
I don't remember the last time
I messaged me and be like, "Where you at, bro?" I'm like, "I'm catching up," and he's like, "I'm catching up."
I think I'm winning.
It's not a gay thing. Yeah.
Oh, now we got a homophobic podcast.
There's a lot going on in this show tonight: crime, racism, bad checks, weed, DUI stories. Holy shit! Now, my friend Jesse here has a story where he gave me the Coles notes. I'm not even going to ruin the Coles notes. I just want to hear it fresh from the horse's mouth, from the Jesse's mouth. Story. I know you ended up in jail. That's all I know about it. Okay.
So I was 19, and it was my other buddy's 19th birthday, and I was with two other guys as well. And I was in radio school. I had a guy who was in police foundations, which you alluded to earlier. I had another guy going to school to be a lawyer. And then there was another guy who was a pro golfer. So the four of us are at a Boston Pizza in Georgetown, Ontario. And 19th birthday, what a spot to celebrate a birthday party. And the bar shuts down at 11 o'clock, and it was like a Tuesday. So we're like, well, let's go to the strip club. It's your 19th birthday. He had never been. Like, let's go. We'll do this right and get out of this Boston Pizza. So we jump into a cab, and we've already been drinking for like 4 or 5 hours. And this cab driver picks us up, and he's wearing this like bowling shirt.
Oh.
And my buddy's like, I want that shirt. And he's like, well, I'm not going to give you the shirt. My buddy goes, I'll give you $100 right now for your shirt. And they literally swap shirts in the in the taxi. Yeah. And this is going to come back to haunt us later on. So this cab driver's like, what are you guys doing tonight? We're like, oh, we're going to the strip club. We're partying. And now we're in this guy's shirt. My buddy is. He's like, okay, well, I'll pick you guys up when you're done. And he charged us like $85 to go from Georgetown to Brampton, which is ridiculous. I don't know if you guys know the area there. It's like a $50 cab. So my buddy's like, he's ripping us off, but he's going to drive us home. So we have a guaranteed drive home. So long story short, we go through the strip club. That is what it is, whatever. So we go to get in the cab with this guy, and he tells us that he's going to drive us home. And my one buddy's texting our group chat. He goes, we're running from this guy. Like, we're not going to pay for this cab. He ripped us off on the way down.
Yeah.
He goes, we're running from this cab. And everyone in the group chat's like, all right, we're running from this cab. So we get this cab driver to drop us off at a golf course. And he drops us off at the golf course. And we all like just scattered. Like we just all started running.
You're like, you take the front nine, I'll take the back nine. You go down to the pro shop.
So we're a long way from home. Like, I don't know why we got dropped off at this golf course, but anyways, we did. And as we're walking, my one buddy's phone starts ringing, the guy who wants to be the lawyer. And it's the police. Oh. And we're like, how did they get our phone number? Like, we just ditched on this cab. How do they have our phone number? And the cop goes, your buddy who bought the shirt off the cab driver left his business cards in his pocket.
Oh.
So the cab driver was wearing the guy's shirt with the business cards. So he calls us. He's like, okay, all I want to do is get you guys to meet me here. We'll pay for the cab. Nothing else is going to happen. So all my buddies are freaking. My buddy is in the middle of a golf tournament. The other guy's going to be a lawyer. The other guy's going to be a cop. So they don't want to deal with the police. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just go pay for it. You guys wait here. I'll go deal with this. So I go deal with it, and I get surrounded by 4 cop cars, and they grab me and they throw me up against the hood of the car. They put me in cuffs. They throw me in the back of the car, and I'm like, what the hell? I thought I was here to pay for the cab or whatever. And when I got they bring me to jail. They start like taking pictures of me, and they put me in a cell for like 4 hours without talking to me whatsoever. And then I get one phone call, and I do it to my dad. Now my dad's like was like a bad dude, be in jail a bunch of times, like a biker guy.
You're like, I need some real advice here. I don't need lawyer advice. I need street advice. What should I do?
So the first thing he says is, whether you're guilty or innocent, don't say anything. So I'm like, okay. So anyways, long story short, these cops keep like pulling me in and out of the cell. What happened? What happened? And then they tell me that the cab driver said that we beat the shit out of him and robbed him.
Oh.
So that's why I was in jail. And it never happened. Anyway, so the cops like asking me to like sell out my buddies. I don't. Anyways, the next morning I get like a bail type thing. And they bring me Tim Hortons breakfast in the morning.
I've heard this. I've heard in Canada, if you get thrown in the drunk tank or thrown in jail, they wake you up and they're like, "You want a Tim Hortons breakfast?" And they're like, "Yeah." It's crazy.
So yeah, I had a bagel and an apple juice. But anyways,
Yeah, in the States they give you McDonald's.
Really?
Oh, really?
Shit. Imagine the McDonald's order. Hey, I got 20 drunks. They all want cheeseburgers.
Yeah, they give us a little cheeseburgers.
Yeah, like if you get me up before 10, I want hotcakes and sausage.
Yeah.
But anyways, long story short, we ended up. I got arrested. I ended up going to my buddies. They ended up turning themselves in, and we were on house arrest for 3 months.
Whoa!
Until it all like got sorted out.
Junior Soprano over here on house arrest.
The cab driver said it was all on video. So what he did was, we were assholes for running on the cab, 100%.
Yeah.
But he said we robbed him and stole his money so he could keep all the cab fare and not give it to his boss.
Oh, so that's actually pretty brilliant. He's like, they took. Let me count it. $776 from me. Yeah,
exactly. So, anyways, once we got out of the house arrest, we had to go to the court.
Straight line.
And he ended up getting charged for lying. He had to like write
fraud,
apology notes and shit like that, and we got reimbursed a little bit for being on house arrest. But I spent the entire night in jail. By the way, they turn it so cold in there and give you nothing, so you freeze all night long.
Really? I guess there's not much warmth in a concrete steel cell. My friend Derek says that the holding cell had decent sandwiches. I think that's a case. Yvonne says $85 is highway fucking robbery from when you guys got charged. Peel region guest quarters. Yeah. It's funny. I've never been to jail, but I think the most not hilarious. It's funny. The most hilarious thing from the Hamilton Barton Street jail, directly across the street is a beer store and a strip club. So when you're in jail and you look out, I don't know if you can look out the window, but if you can see out the window, directly across the street is a drive-through beer store. It's all lit up in a fucking Hamilton strip where it's like here where you could be if you didn't break the law.
The worst part about that too was like, if you get arrested, I don't know what it's like in your guys' towns, but they would put it in the police blotter in the newspaper.
Oh no, not here. Hamilton, there's too much arrest for that.
Oh, so in Georgetown, Ontario, that's what they did. So I remember every day going to the convenience store like 5 a.m. checking to see if I was going to be in the paper or not.
You're like your first press release.
My first press release. Anyways, that was the story. The funniest part though, I think, was the dude swapping the bowling shirt with the cab driver, and that's what fucked us.
That is such a funny coinky dink. That's almost like a Larry David, almost Curb Your Enthusiasm-esque situation where it's like, like because he was being an asshole, like, I want that shirt. And then he left his business cards. And first of all, it's hilarious because I do this too. A guy who goes to the bar with business cards in his pocket.
Press release.
Yeah.
To a strip.
Hold on, you're echoing. Vito, do you have the show on your phone, on your computer right now? Because it's echoing.
That is such a...
Hello? Oh, you hear the echo?
Yeah, I can hear the echo. There's a slight delay. But I did hear. I did like hearing myself say press release. Now I don't know if you got arrested for this, but you told me a story once how you're banned from a stadium in Denver or where Colorado Avalanche. Are you banned from that stadium forever?
Yeah.
So, I want to hear that one too.
So I do radio in Calgary for anyone that doesn't know, and
CJ 92 FM.
There you go.
And also, actually, you know what? I want to pause for a sec before I want to give you a little fluff up. Since COVID has happened, Jesse, what's your partner's name on the show? What's his name?
JD.
JD.
Yeah.
Since COVID has happened, Jesse and JD have gone out of their way to promote, live stream, all that shit for Canadian music artists, and actually even Jesse reached out to me and he's like, do you want to do stand-up on our morning show? And I was like, not a fucking chance. I don't want to bomb in front of all of Calgary. But musically, you've done so much to help Canadian artists like Monster Truck and all those other guys. And we as the entertainment industry, thank you so much. I just wanted to pause for a sec.
I wish you guys would have done that though.
I should have done that.
Funny. Well, it's still up in the air, man. Like I thought it would be funny to get 5 comics like from their own home, and just it would sound like they were bombing the whole time, but it would be funny. Like you did like a 20-minute set.
I recently did a show in Frankenmuth, Michigan, where they asked me to do a live stream comedy show, and it was a Zoom call, and there was like 300 people on the Zoom call. And then it would go to me, and I was like, I was the main guy, and I was sitting here in this seat, and I just did my act like I was doing it on stage, but I'm sitting, and I did 2 15-minute sets, and I would just do the stuff, and then I couldn't hear the people because I had everyone on the Zoom call muted. But if I went to grid view, I could see like 50 people at a time, and I'm watching them. Like I would hit a punchline, and I would see like people laughing, but I can't hear them. So when you're doing stand-up, you can't really see people, but you can hear them. It was the complete opposite, where I couldn't hear them, but I could see all these people laughing, and it was actually pretty comfortable. Once I could see people laughing, I'm like, oh, I'm doing well. And then my energy went up, my timing went up, everything went up, and I was like, this is fantastic. So it was great. What you kind of pitched was like, hey, come on and just do stand-up, and we'll put it on like the radio and Zoom calls and the page and stuff. And I'm like,
I thought it'd be funny if you took over our Facebook Live by yourself with a microphone and did 20 minutes like you were talking to an audience. Like, it would be hilarious.
You know what? I might just do it just for the promo. Even if 1,000 people saw me bomb, it's 1,000 new eyeballs, and I'm like, let's see if he's actually good, and they'll follow me on Instagram. So we'll see what happens. But I know with you on CJ and on the radio show, when I was there, I was in Calgary when this is happening. I was there on tour when the Flames were in the playoffs. You fucked with the Colorado Avalanche, and I know you're banned from the stadium. So I want to hear that story.
So this is a true story. So. Colorado.
Oh shit!
Was taking on Calgary, and we rented a van, and we were going to drive like the 26 hours to Colorado to support the Flames. We had no budget for a plane or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we took a van down. We were staying in the van, and we didn't have tickets to the game. And our boss was like, "Just find a way to get in, and that'll be way funnier than us just saying, here's your tickets." So before we left, Alberta's like known for beef.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's bring some beef, and we'll get it blessed by some former Calgary Flames.
Yeah.
And we'll bring it down. We'll sneak it into the studio, and we'll just throw it all over the stadium.
Yeah.
So we sneak it, and I don't know if you know, but you can't bring beef across the border. So we had to sneak the beef underneath our seats as we were crossing the border into Colorado. And so we get down there, and we bought these cow costumes.
Yes, I remember seeing on Instagram. I wish I could pull it up right now, but yeah.
We had the beef in the udders because the udders was like a pouch.
Yeah.
And we went down to guest services, and we said, hey, like, we're here for the halftime show, and we were dressed as cows. And they said the halftime show, and we're like, yeah, like in between the periods, like we're here, we're doing a bunch of stuff in the crowd with a promo team. Like, okay, come on in. And they just let us into the building. So we grabbed.
Hold on, I just want to pause you for just a sec, Jesse.
Shit.
I was able to find the picture of you dressed as the cows. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
So these two morons show up to the Colorado Avalanche Stadium dressed as cows with CJFM sweaters on.
Wow.
And they're like, you gotta let us in. And they were like, okay.
So they did.
Yeah.
That the picture doesn't do justice because we actually had like hoods and stuff like that as well. So we get into the stadium with no tickets, and we have beef in our pouch, and we're like, well, what do we do? So we just started filming ourselves throwing the beef like all over the arena.
Yeah.
And the Flames were down by 5 goals in the first period.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
it did not work. So we get out of there, and like you said, we had the CJ shirts on, And a member of the Calgary Flames, like back team, calls us. He's like, "Hey, did you guys come to Calgary and fuck with the arena?" We're like, "Yeah." They're like,
Oh,
"You're not
in
allowed
Colorado?
back."
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, "You're not allowed back there." Like they're calling us to tell you they think you're with us. And we're like, "No, whatever." So we get told that we're not allowed back. So we're there for the next game as well, game 4. And we thought, well, we still don't have tickets. How can we get in? And there's a video. I wish you could see it because it's really cool at the beginning. We go to the this like clothing store, and we buy suits, and we pretended like we were named Ray and Stan from Fox Sports 1, like Jay and Dan.
Oh,
And we made these
hilarious.
lanyards, and we went to the media entrance, and we just said, "Hey, Ray and Stan, Fox Sports 1," and we showed them this like fake badge. And they're like, "Here you are. Here you go. Go ahead."
Amazing.
And we got all the way up to the press box, like where they were doing commentary, where all the car commentators were.
Oh, my God.
We were with all the so we ended up sitting with the Flames GMs. Like they were right behind us, and they thought we were Ray and Stan from Fox Sports 1. Then right near the end of the game, they came and they saw us, and we got escorted out and banned from Colorado's arena, the Pepsi Centre. Yeah. But there's
you were the cow guys. We found beef in the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
Well,
I remember there's a video, just a funny quick video of you. You sent it to me actually, and you're like, "Yo, check this out." And you're just in the bathroom, and you just start throwing beef behind the toilet seat and stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, but when we were down there getting it was wild, man. Like we got tossed out of there, and they actually called us, the Colorado Avalanche, and said that video you guys posted is a huge security concern because we snuck into the Pepsi Centre during the playoffs, sold out 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
We went in for game 3 with no tickets. We went in for game 4 with no tickets. Once dressed as a cow and once posing as guys from Fox Sports 1.
I think I personally believe that's how I kind of live my life. I've talked about this on the show before, if not here, other shows, where I've just like shoulders back, head up, confidence, walk straight up to security and act like you should be there. You will get in. I have I don't know if this is illegal. I don't know if this is a crime show. It's definitely unethical. I did a show for my TV shows that I was on years ago called Splat a Lot. You can't see it's behind me. Was a Chorus Entertainment TV show. Chorus Entertainment, they own all the main radio stations. They own YTV. They own a bunch of the home HGTV and Food Network and stuff. It's all Chorus Entertainment. Then I got booked to do a comedy show for AM 640, which is also another Chorus Entertainment thing. And at the show, they gave me a lanyard that has Chorus Entertainment down the whole like string. And it's a big lanyard that says Chorus Entertainment VIP. Just huge letters, VIP, with like a little decal on it and whatever. So they hand this to me, and I automatically just put it straight into my car. Now, whenever I go to, is that your kid? Oh, he's yelling at his kid. You can mute it. I can tell the kids we said hi.
That was the number 1 rule I got. No yelling, kids.
But okay, so any concert I go to, at Budweiser Stage or ACC or anything like that, I drive immediately directly up to the VIP staff parking, and I just wave it, and the guy goes, "Okay," and he just lifts up the gate, pulls aside. I haven't paid for parking at Budweiser Stage. I don't know if I will this summer because there's going to be no concerts. But last year, there must have been 20 shows that I went to. It's literally, I park where I get out of my car, I take 2 steps, I'm at the front door of Budweiser Stage. And then once I was doing a show for the Italian Comedy Festival, which is hilarious because I'm not Italian, I just pretend to be. I was doing a show for the Italian Comedy Festival, and after the show that night, Alexis on Fire was playing at Budweiser Stage, their massive reunion tour show thing they did at Budweiser. And I literally just put the thing around my neck, walked up to the front gate. There must have been 70 security guards standing at the front gate, and Alexis was already playing. I could hear fucking accidents or whatever was playing in the background. And I'm like, "Hey, Chorus Entertainment, I was down at the radio station. I'm here for the show now." And they're like, "Okay." And I just walked past 70 security guards, walked right in and watched the show, met up with my buddy, and then the show was over after a couple songs. But We're not encouraging people to break the law. We're not encouraging people to lie. But if you do, generally you'll get away with it, and that's a promise.
It's actually scary how easy it is to get backstage anywhere. And like you said, you just have a little bit of confidence and you start walking and directing yourself. They don't stop you.
Dude, I went and saw a band that I really like recently. This was in February before COVID hit. They're called Duran Jones and the Indications. They're kind of like a jazzy, folky soul band out of the States, and they came and they played at the Rivoli in Toronto. It was sold the fuck out. There was probably 500 people in the Riv. Or not in the Riv, sorry, in the Horseshoe Tavern. And it was packed, and I was like, I can't see shit. I'm like, I know where the backstage is. You just go down to go to the washrooms, you come up a flight of stairs, and then you're backstage. I was like, okay, cool. I had a drink in my hand. I just walk in. I come up the flight of stairs. The guy's like, hey, this is for band and family only. I'm like, yeah, I'm with the band. He's like, okay. I just fucking
That's it.
Yeah, literally just stood, watched like 3 songs, and then someone from the band was like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. I'm like, I'm with the band. She's like, I'm with the band, and I know you're not with the band. Get the fuck out of here. And I went, okay. I just turned around, walked away, and went back with the civilians in the crowd.
How is that band big enough that they have people like getting mad that you're backstage?
I have no idea. I think I was just like, I don't know. But this guy, he's stoned. I'll let him do his
What is
thing.
he doing?
He was off the show. No, he's on the
trying
show. Okay. He's all fucked up. You figure it out. I'll bring it back. So, he was smoking a joint earlier on the show, so he's all fucked up now. But it's not against the law. But yeah, I think, dude, that confidence, and again, not necessarily illegal, but maybe slightly unethical, but just fucking do it. Just show up. There's been so many TIFF parties and stuff. One of my friends, actually, I'll bring this into Calgary. I had a very close friend of mine named Brandon Flock. He's since passed away from Calgary. His dad was Brad Flock, and we went to a TIFF party. And Brad was like, at the time, like mid-50s. We're in our mid-20s. And he's just like, boys, if I teach you one thing, it's dress nice, keep your shoulders back, and walk in wherever you want. He literally taught me this at like 22. And we walked up to this TIFF event, and they're like, are you on the guest list? We're like, yep. And they're like, okay. And they just walked in. We're up in this TIFF party on like like a balcony. There's all these celebrities around. And you just go. You just do it. Who cares? The worst thing you're going to hear is no. And then you have to leave. Or you get kicked out of the fucking Pepsi Centre in Colorado.
You ever heard of a big music fest that was in Kitchener a couple of years ago? It's shut down now, but they had like some big acts for a couple of years in a row. Like they had Aerosmith, and the one year I was hosting it, they had Soundgarden playing with Jane's Addiction,
Okay,
Glory
that sounds
Sons,
huge,
Monster
yeah.
Truck. And if you go to these big festivals and you go backstage, you'll have a lot of times you'll have like the smaller bands, they have their area backstage. And then if you have like a massive band like a Soundgarden, they have like a fully separate backstage, which is backstage.
Yeah,
so you got security to go backstage, you're with like the bands, but then there's like a whole army of security. And I was hosting the event and I snuck into Soundgarden's backstage.
Oh, shit.
And it was so cool. Like I was in their huddle right before they went on stage. And everybody was there but Chris Cornell. He was like doing his own thing. But like all the rest of the guys were there. And then out of nowhere, Chris Cornell comes out of the back and he's surrounded by like 12 security guards while he's backstage. And I was like, oh my God, like Chris Cornell's here. So I just joined the group and I walked Soundgarden to the stage just because they thought I was supposed to be there. I just walked to Soundgarden.
You kept your shoulder. And that brings us to our next comment. Is it a crime to impersonate security? Because that was my specialty. It cost me a $10 security t-shirt at Army Surplus, and it worked like a charm. Yeah, I believe it. Like, I think if you just show up, again, I wear black often anyways. When I wear black, I just look like either I'm in the mafia or I'm part of the security team, and I just show up and they're like, oh, he's supposed to be here. And now it's coming to the fact where it's worked perfectly a couple times where I've been places where I can't be, and I just tell the truth where I'm like, I'll be like, I'm a comedian. I got these tickets from so-and-so. And they're like, well, who are you? I'm like, I don't know. I'm a touring stand-up comic. And I swear to God, it's happened like 3 or 4 times where someone will be like, completely random will be like, is that Eric Johnston? Dude, I saw you at so-and-so. You're fucking hilarious. And it just backs up my story. And they're like, Oh, okay. So you are okay. Yeah, come on in. Like I was on stage with Sum 41 last year. My friend got tickets. He represents the band, but there was like a friends and family section only on the stage. I have the story on my Instagram, and we were just on the stage like friends and family, and some guy walks up with like a cooler full of beer, and he's like, "Hey, this is for you." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "Because I know if you're up here, you're probably with the band, so go ahead." And he just handed me like, I'm like, "Pop, pop, pop." I'm like, "This is so nice of you. It's so nice to be with the band." And then Derek fucking Webley comes off stage looking at me like, "Who the fuck are you?" I'm like, "I'm with the band." He's like, "We're the band." But yeah, dude.
I don't want to leave you hanging, but I got to roll. My kids are trying to get me to watch Scoob with them, the new Scooby-Doo.
Oh, okay. Well, Vance just came back right now, so this is perfect timing.
Perfect.
He's all fucked up. Jesse, I love you, dude. I'm so happy you came on the show. If you want to follow Jesse, it's at Jesse Modz. If you're in the Calgary area, it's CJ92 FM every morning with CJ or with Jesse and what's his name? JD. Jesse and JD on mornings on CJ.
Can we ask Vance really quickly to take back his "I look like a cook" comment?
If he could connect to the fucking stream, that would be great.
What a great show this is, eh? You and your co-host, and I haven't seen him once.
Oh, dude, here's the thing. I do the talking and the listening, and then my co-host gets stoned. I have a different co-host every week. But yeah, Vance is in the dark zone, as we can see. But yeah, dude, I go be with your kids. I'm gonna wrap up the show anyways. But this has been fantastic, dude.
If you ever want me to co-host, we tell some cool stories. I'm in, man.
Yeah, dude. I'll have you back on the show for sure. Everyone follow Jesse at Jesse Modz on Instagram and follow all of his hijinks and get kicked out of stadiums. Dude, I love you. I'll see you when I see you, okay?
See you, man.
See ya. Okay, I think we got him back. Vance? Oh, dude. Hey, man.
Yo, what's up? I'm getting frustrated out here, man.
I bet you are.
I'm getting real frustrated, yo.
You've come in and out of the show about 8 times, but we got you.
Because my connection is fucked up. It's good. I see that it's good when it's me and you, but the minute a third person comes on, it's
too much bandwidth.
Yeah, like right now it's right. I think it's like on the edge because I hear me and you itchy, sketchy, but like, man, this thing is frustrating too because these people got good stories and they got good vibes, and I'm missing the shit out.
Don't worry, you can come back. You can watch the show back. This leads me to a great point. Anyone who's watching the show, if you feel like you've missed something on the show, I am automatically upload these episodes immediately to YouTube. And you can watch the entire thing. I've switched to a apple and cherry cider to close out the show. Vance, do you have anything closing remarks to people about I don't know, breaking the law, going to jail, getting arrested? Is anything you learned? I know it's made you a better man and a better comedian and more perspective.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of final thoughts? Jerry Springer. Final thoughts about
some Jerry Springer shit.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I learned what every criminal when I was in there. I learned that every criminal ain't really a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like everybody, because like up until that point, I'm thinking almost everybody in the jail is probably a fucking rotten dude, but not really. It's like they just got caught. They just got caught. Trying to fucking feed their family. And then that's when I learned about perspective. In jail taught me about seeing shit from the other side all the time. Like no matter what kind of situation, because I was kind of like a one-sided guy up until that point. But up until I got out, I was like, yo, every story got 2 sides. And then I just started listening to the other side of the story more right after that. So it's like, yeah. That's what I learned in jail too. It's like every story got 2 sides.
Well, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to close out the show, man.
Every story got 2 sides.
Every story got 2 sides. How much time did you do in total?
In total, I was like two. The last stint was the long stint. It was 2 years, almost 2 years.
Wow.
Almost 2. Yeah. So
2 years.
It was a long time. Yeah, it was a long time away from my fams.
Yeah.
But my dad, he held me down.
Yeah.
He held me down. Shout out to my dad. Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. I think that's a beautiful story. You went to jail for some fraud checks, but you gave you perspective.
Yeah.
You got closer with your family, and you became going to be a world-class stand-up comedian. I've believed in you since the moment I met you.
Ah man, thanks, man. Word up, man. I believe in you too, man. One day we gonna be doing these tours, man, for real.
Yeah.
And we gonna tear up that comedy store together, man. I'm
That'd be
telling you,
great.
son. Trust.
Dude, that'd be
I
great.
feel it in my bones, my dude. I'm feeling it in
Yeah.
my bones. We gonna tear up that comedy store together, son.
I think
For
the
real.
secret, man, is you just gotta keep showing up, man, and have something to say. And I think you're doing both right
Exactly.
now. You're one of those comics that every time
No
I come
doubt, son.
every time I come to Montreal as a comic, every time I come there and I see what is everyone doing locally, where is everyone is who's doing what, who's doing this, who's hosting this, who's showing up to this, who's that. Your name comes up more often than not, dude. You're hustling, and I respect
Damn.
that. I think
Thanks, man.
I'm known as a hustler myself, and so when I see hustle, I respect
Right.
it. And you ain't never going back to jail.
Nah, I ain't never going back. Nah, I ain't never going. Yo, ain't nothing to go back though. I ain't never going back though. I ain't nothing going back, man.
Dude.
For real, son.
I'm gonna kick you off and close up the show, but this was great, man. Vance Michel,
All right,
aka
cool.
Vito Blaze.
Don't I get to plug anything?
I was doing that for you.
Shit?
I was about to do that.
Oh,
I was closing
you
you
was
out.
about to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Vance Michel, aka Vito Blaze, at V Bleezy on Instagram. And do you have anything to plug? You've got your coffee talk show. Tell us about that.
Yo, I got my Coffee Talk podcast, which was a motivational podcast that I started like 2 years ago on my Snapchat. And when my family just told me to keep going with this shit, so now it's on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and iTunes, SoundCloud, and I got another podcast. Just call me 3 Podcast Vito. You know,
Okay.
3 Pod Vito,
3 Pod.
Podcast Vito. Yeah, 3 Pod Vito, because I got Coffee Talk. It's my motivational podcast, and then I got the Funny Papers with Vance Michel, which is a comedy news podcast where I just, it's kind of like
riff on the
I just
news
talk,
and shit.
yeah, riff on the news and shit. And then I got this, I got the next podcast in the works, which is just me and this girl named Haley Garceau.
Okay, I think I've heard the name before. Yeah.
Yeah. We're coming. We're on a. It's in the works. It's a little podcast on the work. We're gonna do. She's a little white girl, and I'm black guy. So we're gonna have like a little Michael Strahan, Kelly Ripa type shit going on, son. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit, baby. It's like a hood Michael Strahan with this Kelly Ripa type chick. Yo, this shit gonna be lit. Yo, that shit gonna be lit. So that shit coming soon.
Oh, that'd be great, man.
That shit coming soon.
Well,
yo.
I'm proud of you, man. You're a hard worker, and like I said, it's at 3 years in, you're further along than a lot of guys at 3 years. So keep showing up, keep doing your thing. You're gonna be great, man.
Oh man, thanks, man. That comes a lot coming from you, baby, man.
Oh, I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna kick you off, and I'm gonna close up the show, man. God bless you,
Right,
Vance Michel, aka Vito Blaze, at V Bleezy. Follow him on Instagram. Get that coffee talk.
Get that coffee talk. Every day, daily, baby. Catch me, baby. Peace.
See you,
Love
buddy.
you.
Oh, man. Vito Blaze, Vance Michel. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show tonight. Tonight we talked about crime. We talked about breaking the law. We talked about getting arrested, going to jail. I didn't know that Vance went to jail for 2 years, over 2 years. That's crazy. We had the Puerto Rican Dream. Abi Sanchez came on and told his DUI story. We had Jesse Modz coming on telling us not only a story that he went to jail or was under house arrest for 3 months. Also, he's permanently banned from the Pepsi Centre. But we also learned a lot. We also learned about perspective. We learned about life. We learned about hustle. We learned about going for it. Whether it's against the law or not, sometimes your only option is to go for it. And that leads almost to our closing remarks about the blood and guts thing. I just showed up today, and now I have a family heirloom. Please watch that whole story on my Instagram, at Eric Johnston, who is my personal page. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back on Tuesday next week and Thursday next week. I don't know what the subjects are going to be. So if you're watching the show and you have an idea of something that you want to happen on this show, a theme, or something to talk about. And if you have an idea for a guest, if there's anyone that you think that I should talk to, please message me on Instagram or Facebook. Daniel says, great show. Thanks, guys. That was awesome. So much fun. Mom, I didn't get to the story about the BMO sponsors Raptors pretending to be a millionaire. Long story short, I pretended to be a millionaire in the box, the center court box at the ACC watching the Raptors game. But we didn't have time for that tonight. My name is Eric Johnston. This has been Eric Johnston Live. I'm a criminal. I'll see you guys back Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, and Thursday night, 9 o'clock. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you to everyone who shared this show, and thank you to everyone who continues to watch this show. I'll see you guys next week. Good night.